I want you to imagine just for a second that you're driving down this really narrow, winding village path.
Okay, setting the scene.
Right. And it has been raining heavily for days. I mean, the kind of relentless downpour that just turns the whole landscape into a sponge. The ground feels totally unstable beneath your tires.
Oh, that is a terrifying feeling.
It is. And so you come around this blind bend, and suddenly you hear this deafening roar. You look up through the windshield, and tearing down the hillside directly toward you is this massive avalanche force mudslide.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're talking thousands of tons of earth, jagged rock, churning water. It's moving with this absolute indiscriminate destructive power. And you're right, in its path.
Nowhere to go.
Exactly. Nowhere to swerve, nowhere to reverse. The end is like literally seconds away.
Yeah.
And then the impossible happens.
The impossible.
Yeah. The mudslide, this entirely unstoppable force of nature, it just stops.
Wait, it just stops.
It freezes in place, hovering right above you, basically defying gravity. It pauses for exactly 16 seconds.
That is incredibly specific.
Right. 16 seconds. Just long enough for you to hit the gas, white-knuckle the steering wheel, and drive out of the danger zone. And the very second your rear bumper clears the path, the mudslide just roars back to life, crashing down over the exact spot where you were just parked.
I mean, that sounds like a scene pulled straight out of a big-budget Hollywood disaster movie.
Totally.
You'd expect a director to yell, "Cut!" because the scenario completely violates the fundamental laws of physics. Thousands of tons of momentum don't just politely pause to let a commuter cross the street.
It sounds completely fabricated, right?
Yeah.
Like some digital effect or an urban legend. But what if a writer looked at a video of that exact scenario and built an entire worldview around it?
And that is exactly what we are looking at today.
Yes. Welcome to this deep dive. Today we are exploring a truly fascinating source text. It's this July 2024 essay written by an author named Lifechanyuan. And we're working from a version translated and edited by Lifechanyuan.
Right, a really compelling piece of writing.
Our mission today is to explore how this author takes a viral video of a seemingly physics-defying mudslide and uses it to unpack this deeply profound philosophy on human destiny, the moral fabric of the universe, and how we're actually supposed to live our lives. Okay, let's unpack this. Let's look at the actual videos Lifechanyuan is analyzing.
Yeah, so the entire philosophical framework of this essay really hinges on this one specific recorded anomaly.
Okay.
Lifechanyuan describes watching a video online. Now, the author acknowledges not knowing the exact time or location the video was recorded, but they present the visual evidence as clear and undeniable.
So what exactly are we seeing in the video?
Well, we have this mountainous village setting, clearly in the aftermath of some severe weather. We see the mudslide flowing down this village path, and caught right at the vanguard of this disaster is a white van.
Okay, so the van is an extreme immediate danger. It's the focal point.
Exactly. It's right in the crosshairs. But the video shows the mudslide suddenly halting.
Like just completely stopping.
It just waits there, utterly motionless. And the driver of the van, seeing this miraculous, inexplicable pause, uses that narrow 16-second window to quickly drive away.
Wow.
And the text specifically emphasizes that the instant the van is entirely out of danger, the mudslide roars back to life. It crashes down with the full force of an avalanche.
I keep picturing someone literally pointing a remote control at a natural disaster and hitting freeze frame.
Right, like pausing a movie.
Yeah. Just pausing the movie so the protagonist can walk off the screen and then hitting play again. But what really stands out to me is how Lifechanyuan contextualizes this event.
Oh, absolutely. The comparisons are huge.
Yeah, the author immediately compares this modern pixelated viral video to ancient biblical miracles. I mean, we're talking about the Israelites crossing the Red Sea when the water stopped flowing to give them the dry path, or Jesus feeding 5,000 people with just 5 loaves and 2 fish, Christ turning water into wine. Lifechanyuan points out that modern society usually brushes those stories off as myths, right? Like allegories or ancient science fiction.
Sure, people tend to rationalize them away.
But here is this mudslide, stopping for 16 seconds, happening in our era, and it's caught on video.
And the author is deliberately setting up a clash here between this visual event and human rationality.
How so?
Well, Lifechanyuan directly addresses the skeptical reader explicitly stating that a mudslide stopping for 16 seconds and then resuming its flow, it completely shatters common sense.
Oh, it definitely
It
does.
breaks logical thinking. I mean, we wouldn't ever expect a river to temporarily stop flowing just to ensure one specific person's safety and then continue only once they're out of the way.
Yeah, but I have to push back on the premise here for a second.
Go ahead.
The author admits this completely defies common sense, right?
Right.
And that any rationalist would just laugh it out of the room.
Yeah.
So are we, as the reader, meant to take this literal pause in physics at face value?
Like it actually happened exactly as described.
Right, like gravity actually stopped for 16 seconds. Or is the author perhaps using this video as a metaphor, like an extreme thought experiment, to make a larger point about the sheer limits of human comprehension? Because taking it literally is a tough pill to swallow for anyone with, a basic understanding of geology or physics.
Well, what's fascinating here is that the text leaves absolutely zero room for ambiguity on that point.
Really, zero room.
Zero. Xuefeng believes it is a literal, factual occurrence. The author states plainly, I believe it's real.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And furthermore, the author uses this literal interpretation to establish the core value of a belief system referred to in the text as Chanyuan.
Chanyuan, okay, what is that core value?
It's this nothing is impossible. There are only things we cannot imagine or comprehend.
But wait, if we accept a literal targeted suspension of gravity, doesn't that unravel all of modern science? I mean, how does Xuefeng reconcile that with the modern world? If gravity can just turn off when it feels like it, every scientific model we have just collapses.
Well, from the Chanyuan perspective, modern science isn't necessarily false. It's just an incredibly narrow, incomplete rule book.
Interesting. A narrow rule book.
Right. Science explains the mechanics of a closed system, but Xuefeng argues the universe isn't a closed system.
Okay, so what is it?
It's an open system managed by a higher intelligence. Xuefeng poses this rhetorical question in the text. If a mudslide can temporarily stop to ensure someone's safety, what can't happen?
Ugh.
Accepting that 16-second pause means accepting that the laws of physics are actually subordinate to the will of the creator. The universe isn't just this cold, mechanical machine of cause and effect. It is capable of specific surgical intervention.
And that targeted intervention completely shifts the entire essay from a physics lesson to a moral judgment.
Yes, exactly.
Because the author doesn't just ask how the mudslide stopped, but why it stopped for that specific white van. And here's where it gets really interesting. Xuefeng starts drawing intense philosophical insights from the event.
Right, it becomes about the people involved.
Exactly. The anomaly isn't just meteorological. It's like a moral shielding.
Yeah, the essay outlines a universe governed by moral physics, not just material physics. Xuefeng shares a specific axiom here. Do good deeds regardless of what the future holds. The text draws a direct correlation between the moral character of the driver in that white van and the universe's decision to just hit the brakes on a mountain of mud.
That is such a wild concept to wrap your head around. The implication is that the van driver must have been a quote-unquote good person, and the universe literally paused a natural disaster specifically for them.
That's the argument.
Because, I mean, we often view karma as this vague, abstract, long-term balancing act, right? Maybe you're a good person, so people treat you better. Or maybe you get a cosmic reward in the next life. But Xuefeng is presenting karma as an immediate, physical, invincible shield right here in the material world.
Exactly. And the text elaborates on this with another quote, God bless those kind-hearted. But then Xuefeng takes it deeper into the social dynamics of everyday life. Well, the author writes, a kind person may be bullied by others, but not by heaven. An evil person may be feared by others, but not by heaven.
Oh, man. A kind person may be bullied by others, but not by heaven. That line really acknowledges a hard truth, doesn't it?
It does.
Being a good person in human society doesn't guarantee you a pain-free life. People might still take advantage of you. You might be a victim of human cruelty, fraud, malice, whatever. But heaven, this ultimate authority, the underlying operating system of reality itself, heaven will not bully you.
Right. It protects its own.
It will intervene when it truly matters. Like, for instance, when thousands of tons of mud are about to crush your van.
Yeah, and conversely, the evil person might intimidate everyone around them. They might seem powerful, rich, untouchable in the human realm.
Right.
But heaven doesn't fear them. Human power dynamics mean absolutely nothing to the fundamental forces of destiny. The text drives this home by contrasting two archetypes, the true gentleman and the cunning person.
Okay, let's break those down.
Sufeng says, "A true gentleman does not seek blessings, yet heaven guides him. A cunning person tries to avoid disaster, yet heaven takes his soul."
So the gentleman isn't out there performing good deeds transactionally.
Exactly.
They aren't putting coins into some cosmic vending machine expecting a miracle to pop out. They don't actively seek the blessings or try to, like, game the system. They just do good deeds regardless of the future, as that earlier quote said.
Yeah, it's just who they are.
And because of that pure, unattached goodness, heaven actively guides them out of the path of the mudslide.
But the cunning person is playing a completely different and ultimately doomed game. I mean, think about modern society's obsession with risk management.
Oh, sure.
We buy insurance, we build stronger walls, we use data analytics to forecast danger. The cunning person relies entirely on their intellect and rational maneuvering to dodge disaster. They try to outsmart the universe.
Good luck with that, right?
Exactly. Shuifeng argues that if heaven has determined it is your time, all your cunning is utterly useless. Heaven will take your soul regardless of how smartly you try to avoid it. Divine forces actively intervene based on moral alignment, not human cleverness.
Okay, having established this really intense worldview where the universe actively shields the kind-hearted and completely ignores the clever, we have to look at how the author arrived at this highly specific lens.
All right, where does this all come from?
Yeah, because it doesn't seem like the kind of philosophy you just pick up from watching a YouTube video of a mudslide. And the text shifts here from this external observation of the white van to a deeply personal origin story, a micro-miracle in the author's own life.
Yeah, Shuifeng turns inward here and reflects on a severe car accident that happened to them personally. And the text makes it clear this wasn't just a minor fender bender in a parking lot.
Right.
It was a devastating crash that permanently altered the course of Shuifeng's life.
And the detail that stands out to me is the author's immediate reaction. Shuifeng writes that upon getting out of the wrecked car and looking back at the twisted metal, the very first thought that crystallized in their mind was, God saved me.
Just instant recognition.
Yeah. There was no rationalizing about crumple zones or the deployment speed of the airbags or the lucky angle of the impact. It was an instant, absolute recognition of divine intervention.
And that realization triggered a profound psychological and spiritual shift.
What happened?
According to the text, in that moment of standing on the side of the road, Shuifeng believed that their original self actually died in that car accident.
Like literally died.
The ego, the previous identity, the person who lived for their own ambitions and desires, that person was gone. What remained belonged entirely to God.
Ego death from a car crash. I mean, people get in wrecks every day. Usually they just call their insurance company or, hire a lawyer. They don't dissolve their entire identity on the side of the highway.
No, usually not.
But the resulting lifestyle shift for Shuifeng is massive. The text says that since that accident, the authors stopped considering themselves entirely and dedicated their life to the theory of Lifechanyuan and the construction of the second home.
Right.
Let's pause there for a second because we really need to understand what those terms actually mean in practice. What is Lifechanyuan and what is this second home?
Well, Lifechanyuan is a portmanteau. It combines life with Chanyuan, which translates loosely to a Zen-like garden or a peaceful origin.
What?
It's a spiritual philosophy and a community founded by Shuifeng. The theory posits that humanity can live in perfect harmony by aligning with the natural flow of the universe, or the Tao.
And the second home.
The second home is the practical application of this theory. It refers to communal living experiments established by Shuifeng's followers. In these communities, traditional family structures, marriages, and private property are dissolved.
Yeah, dissolved completely.
Yeah. The idea is that by removing these personal attachments, you eliminate the ego and the selfishness that causes human suffering, effectively creating a literal earthly paradise.
So the car crash literally birthed a communal movement aimed at stripping away human attachment. That's incredible. And that brings us to Shuifeng's ultimate life motto. The author writes that they want to entrust my life to the greatest creator and let the Tao manage my life.
Right.
They see themselves as having only one remaining task on earth, which is to walk the way of the greatest creator. So what does this all mean for how he lives day to day? If you believe your old self died and you are now entrusting your life entirely to the greatest creator and letting the Tao manage it, does that make you reckless or perfectly at peace?
That is the big question.
Because if heaven is in charge of your destiny, why bother looking both ways before crossing the street?
Well, the essay points emphatically toward absolute peace, separating it entirely from fatalistic recklessness.
Okay, how so?
Because recklessness implies an ego that is acting out, right? Like testing boundaries or craving a thrill. This philosophy is about the complete removal of the ego's anxiety.
Oh, I see.
Sifang synthesizes this with a really powerful realization about destiny. The author says, what is destined to come will inevitably come. Trying to avoid it is futile. What is destined to leave will inevitably leave. Trying to hold on is futile.
Trying to avoid it is futile. Trying to hold on is futile. That completely dismantles the machinery of modern anxiety.
It really does.
Our entire modern existence is basically made up of trying frantically to avoid bad things and desperately trying to hoard and hold on to good things. We spend vast amounts of emotional energy on those two utterly futile actions.
Yeah, and the cunning person we discussed earlier, that's the one frantically trying to avoid the disaster and hold on to their blessings.
Right.
But the true gentleman, walking the way of the Tao, understands the futility of resistance. If the mudslide is destined to crush you, it will. If it's destined to pause for 16 seconds to let you escape, it will.
So stressing about it doesn't help.
Exactly. Your anxiety about the mudslide changes absolutely nothing about the outcome, but it completely ruins your experience of the present moment.
That makes perfect sense. And that perfectly sets up the final section of the text, where Wifeng moves from their personal awakening to a universal prescription for the rest of us.
Yes, the how-to section.
The author provides a literal formula for what they call the best way to live. But looking at the list of criteria, it is incredibly demanding. It requires a total rewiring of how a human being interacts with reality.
It does. The formula begins with 3 internal states: selflessness, unselfishness, and non-attachment. You have to strip away the ego that demands things go your way.
Which is incredibly hard.
Oh, very hard. You have to stop viewing the world through that transactional lens of what can I extract from this situation.
Right. And then the text moves into how we process events. It says we must take things as they are.
Take things as they are.
That means no fighting against current reality. If it's raining, it's raining. If you lose your job, you lost your job.
Yeah.
You take the fact exactly as it is without adding a layer of personal tragedy or victimhood or narrative to it.
Exactly.
But, it sounds good on paper, but how does a person actually do that? We are biologically hardwired for attachment. Our brains are literally designed to react to loss with stress and grief.
Well, that friction between our biology and this philosophy is exactly where the real work happens. Zhifeng addresses this directly when talking about human relationships.
What does he say?
The text says we should be associating with others by following natural come-and-go relations.
Natural come-and-go relations.
Yeah, and this is the hardest part for most people. We suffer immensely when we try to force relationships to stay exactly the same forever, or when we try to force connections that just aren't meant to be.
Oh, definitely.
This philosophy advocates for a fluid social existence. People enter your life when it is natural, and they exit when it is natural. You accept both movements with the same level of non-attachment. You appreciate the connection while it's there, but you don't build a fortress around it to prevent it from leaving.
Reading this formula, selflessness, non-attachment, natural come-and-go relations, acting on intrinsic nature, taking advantage of opportunities, it actually makes me think of a surfer on a massive, terrifying wave.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Yeah, because the surfer cannot control the ocean. The ocean is the mudslide. It's the car crash. It's destiny. If you try to punch the wave or scream at it to stop, it's just going to crush you against the reef.
It's totally futile.
But if you accept that you have zero control over the millions of gallons of water beneath you, you can let go of your anxiety.
Yeah.
You adapt to the wave. You act purely on your intrinsic nature and timing, taking advantage of the opportunity the wave presents in that exact second. You ride it. And crucially, when the wave ends and dissipates into the shore, the surfer doesn't cry about it. They accept that the wave was destined to leave.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, that surfer analogy captures Shuifeng's ultimate message beautifully.
Thank you.
The text concludes by stating that living this way, the state of radical non-attachment and alignment with the Tao, it's not just a decent self-help strategy or the best way to live.
What is it then?
It is actually the essential way to the heavenly kingdom that the greatest creator can bless us to go. The entire essay operates as a roadmap. It goes from acknowledging the terrifying, avalanche-like power of the physical world to finding absolute spiritual peace by surrendering your illusion of control over it.
It's a remarkably dense piece of writing. From a viral video on the internet to the essential way to the heavenly kingdom, all mapped out in a few short paragraphs. We want to thank you for joining us on this deep dive today. We've traveled from staring down a 16-second pause in a catastrophic mudslide to exploring a moral universe that protects the kind-hearted to understanding the ego death of a life-altering car crash.
Quite a journey.
And finally, to breaking down a radical formula for non-attachment and accepting our destiny.
And the essay really challenges us to look at the anomalous events in our own lives, not just as lucky breaks, coincidences, or random chance, but as potential indicators of a much deeper, unseen, and highly moral order to reality.
Absolutely. And as we wrap up, we want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. If true non-attachment, as Wei Feng describes, it means fully accepting that whatever comes will inevitably come, and whatever leaves will inevitably leave.
Well, wait, how does that change our modern definition of safety?
Exactly. We spend so much of our lives, our money, and our energy trying to build stronger walls, better financial safety nets, and more secure plans to protect ourselves from the metaphorical mudslides of life.
We really do.
But if this essay is right, is true safety actually found in those walls? Or is true safety only found when we completely surrender the illusion that we could ever control the mudslide in the first place? Think about that the next time you find yourself trying to force the universe to pause. Until next time.